Welcome back to another week of Mariefe and Jake Snow tutorials. Are you gonna help me on this one?
No, editing is always on Jake, so I'm gonna let him do it.
Okay, this one is on me. Today we're gonna focus on probably the most asked question, the most popular question we get on Instagram, and that's how we edit our photo. Today I want to answer that question and add a little bit more. Things like what are presets, how can they help you edit, what settings we use on our photos, how we can keep a consistent style on our Instagram, all of that kind of stuff. Just a little bit of backstory to give you guys some confidence. Maria and I never had any formal photography training. We didn't go to university or anything like that. We learned most of our stuff through practice and through trial and error, and also through YouTube, which is what you're using right now, which is a great start. But I don't want to talk too much here. I talk enough on Instagram, so let's jump onto the laptop and get started. Today I'm going to be editing one of the photos we took in Bali on the water in Canggu. Just to quickly let you know, most of the functions that I'm using here on the desktop software you can also use on your mobile, especially if you pay for the $2 monthly subscription, which gives you access to most of the functions that you can have here on desktop. Now, at first glance, this photo to the untrained eye looks way too dark. In actual fact, when we're shooting, we would much prefer to have an underexposed photo than an overexposed photo, because as you'll see in a moment, we can really bring these shadows back within the Lightroom software. Now, the first thing I want to do on any photo is crop it to Instagram size and also straighten it. So you can see here the 4x5, 8x10 size is the perfect crop for Instagram. So I want to bring us into the middle and make sure that the horizon is straight. Once that is done, that looks good. Perfect. Now the second thing we always do from here, 9 times out of 10 we will use a preset, because you can see here that it dramatically decreases the amount of time that we use to edit, because you can see that by going down these presets here, a lot of them are looking quite good already. Not only does using presets make our editing more efficient, it also helps us keep a consistent style across our Instagram feed. Now, some people don't use presets, and that's absolutely fine. A lot of the techniques I'm going to show you now will be effective whether you use presets or not. Okay, so let's get started editing this photo. First thing I want to do is select the preset, and I'm going to select Le Riyadh. You can already see there's a huge difference from the before and the after photo. We designed our presets so that it's as close to a finished product as possible with one click, but there's still a few things I'd like to teach you guys right now. The first thing is I would like to lift the shadows of our skin here. You can see that it's still a little bit dark in this area, and my hands and my arm still looks a little bit grey, so I'm going to use the brush tool here, and what I want to do is lift up the shadows on this brush tool. Make sure all of your settings are at 0 before starting, and I'm going to brush on my arm here, and you can see how that's starting to lighten up that area. I think that looks pretty good, but if I add just a few highlights, maybe a touch of temperature, then my arm is starting to look more warm and more real. I think I like that there. Another thing I want to do is I want to reduce the warmth and the saturation of this orange over here. So I'm going to go into the colors, and I'm going to reduce the saturation of that just down a little bit, and maybe lift the luminance up. That's looking quite good now. Another technique I want to teach you guys today is gradient filters. What this does is it brings in adjustments from any angle you like on the screen. The water looks quite dark down here, so what I want to do is I want to lift the saturation of that water and see if I can bring some blues and oranges out of the water. You can see how the color's starting to change there, and that actually looks quite nice. I'm going to add another gradient filter to this side of the photos so that I can bring in some natural looking light. That's the direction that the light is coming from, so I want to lift the shadows, add a little bit of whites and a little bit of exposure to that, not too much. So that looks like there's a natural light ray coming through there. The next thing I'd like to do is to soften this photo a little bit. So I'm going to go into the sharpening tool here and I'm going to sharpen it up to about 30, 40, make that there. And then what I want to do is I want to press the Option button and click on this masking tool and drag that up until you can see the lines that you want to be sharp and the rest that you want to be soft. So about 60 or 70 is where I like to usually drop it, and that just makes the photo look really soft. I think we're getting pretty close to a final product now. The last couple of things I like to do is also lift the noise a little bit, just to add that extra soft touch. Sometimes I like to use distortion to make us more focused in the middle of the photo, something like this. And I think now we're starting to get pretty close to a final product. Something else I like to do after I've softened up the photo is just to give it a little bit more edge by just adding a little bit of clarity and a little bit of contrast. And now we're getting to a point where it looks really good. I would say that's pretty much done. That was all within about 3 minutes and we're ready to post on Instagram. Okay guys, that's enough from me this week. I hope you got a lot of value out of that and you are able to take your photography and your editing to the next level. If you have any other questions or if you want tutorials on any other topics, comment down below. Make sure to subscribe because we're going to be doing this weekly and trying to give back to you guys as much as possible. Thank you very much and see you next week.